it felt like Tom was hearing things that weren't exactly accurate.
Well, I actually texted busting his chops saying, isn't it hilarious that a 42-year-old quarterback is controlling all the conversation about free agency? And then he texted back, he goes, look, no one knows anything. He goes, nobody knows anything. And I said, well, they all seem like they know anything. I don't ever talk to Tommy about subjects like this because I don't want to be that pain in the butt friend that says, hey, can you give me a scoop so I can tell everyone? But I told him that, every time I turn around, this person said this or this person said that. He goes, well, then clean it up. He goes, tell them that if I don't know, how is anyone else going to know? So the bottom line here is that he has not made a decision. I don't know if the Patriots made a decision, but I can tell you that the people in the know certainly are not talking. So for all those media types who sit there and say, here's what's happening, they have no clue.
And obviously, though, as you say, you're not getting get into his business. You do know him as he has said, listen, this is the first time he's been able to do this in 20 years. And knowing Tom as you do, is he someone if he makes a decision, kind of right at the beginning of free agency or even kind of before that, is he the guy that will let people know? Or do you think he wants to kind of enjoy this process a little bit?
Oh, I don't think he's enjoying the process at all. That's not his way. He's a very business-like, attention for detail guy. I mean, if he had his druthers, this would already be a slam dunk lock over with. But I think that the fact that the fact of the matter is this is a business decision. This isn't a personnel decision or a personnel decision. This is a business decision. What does Bill value Tommy with, not personally, but business-wise? What does he think he's worth? And does Tommy think that that's good enough for him? And by what he's worth doesn't mean just how much are they going to pay Tommy. It's what are they going to do to ensure that their offense can produce enough to have a chance to win a championship. Because the only thing that's really important to Tommy is competing for a ring. That's what's really important to him.
Coach, so you think the talk of, Tom potentially wanting to set up his brand for the future, things about TB12, the off-the-field portion of this is overblown?
Mike, I mean, he's worth hundreds of millions, and his wife is worth more. I mean, that's great about the TB12 brand, okay, but I think he wants to be playing at the Super Bowl next year, not going for the dog and pony show that is the Super Bowl. I think that he's at the end of his career. He wants to be playing in the big dance. And I think that is by far the most important thing to him.
Charlie Weis with us here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, former Patriots offensive coordinator and formerly my head coach at Notre Dame. And Coach, how surprised just in general, because you mentioned a 42-year-old quarterback dominating the free agent news cycle. How surprised are you that it even got here, that a 42-year-old quarterback who'd spent his entire career with one franchise had even landed in a place where this was possible at this point in his career?
Well, Mike, that's a great question because when I was down at the Super Bowl and we're talking to most of the New England media, they asked me, well, what would you like to see happen? I said, I'm like every other Patriot fan. Of course I'd like Tommy to ride off into the sunset as a Patriot, and that's not changing that. That's what I'd like to have happen. But with that being said, I said, let me ask you a rhetorical question. Why is he a free agent? The fact that he is a free agent that can't be tagged lets you know that somebody, whether it's him or whether the Patriots or both, wanted him to be able to be free. And if you're a free agent, why wouldn't you explore? I mean, I don't understand why you'd be put in the status of being a free agent unless you were going to exercise that possibility and see what was out there to at least look at.
Yeah, Rob Ninkovich, former Patriot, obviously brought that up with us last week when he had him on, talking about how the Drew Brees and the Saints thing seems like a foregone conclusion, that they'll figure it out, they'll make it work, and that certainly doesn't feel like that's the case been so far between these two. As Charlie Weis is with us now, former Notre Dame head coach and former Patriots offensive coordinator. Charlie, there was a report from Tom Curran of NBC Sports in Boston that Robert Kraft would not intercede in the business affairs, or the football affairs rather, in how the decision-making process is going to be going forward. What do you think might be the situation, or would Robert Kraft think about interceding if he really wanted to keep Tom against potentially the wishes of the football people?
I'm sure that Bill understands Robert's feeling towards Tommy. You know, Robert loves Tommy. But at the same time, you know, Robert learned a long time ago, after the Parcells situation, Robert learned a long time ago to let the football people make the football decisions, and that's why you hired him. I mean, Tommy's not the only one going to the Hall of Fame now. That coach by the name of Belichick, I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer too. And there's a reason. And part of the reason is because Mr. Kraft, when he hired him, you know, stepped back and said, "It's your show. You make the call." I'm sure Bill is well aware of what Mr. Kraft's feelings are on Tommy, but this is going to be a business decision. This is going to be a personal decision, and it's not going to just be about personnel. It's going to be a business decision.
So, Charlie, along those lines, and talking from the coach side of it, obviously you know Tom Brady very well. You also know Bill Belichick very well. And we all know the preparedness he has for seasons. How much do you think already he has gone through scenarios of the possibility of who those other quarterbacks may be if Tom's not going to be the guy?
Oh, I'm sure he's totally prepared for this. The one wild card that none of us know, other than maybe Bill and Josh, is what they think of Stidham. You know, because they might be really high on Stidham and think he's ready to go. Either way, if Tommy were to leave, they're going to have to bring in a veteran quarterback.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+. We'll see you there.